How you doing, YouTube? I am in my workshop of parking lot where I will be talking about something I actually get a lot of questions about, and that's my window covers. Now, these windows are in fact tinted. They're actually a little dirty right now. I need to clean them. Should have cleaned them before this video. I've been cleaning my windows, man, but I swear it takes no. I just park under a tree and suddenly there's like bleh, all over it. I need to do a good cleaning. But the point is, these actually are tinted, but they're not as tinted as they look. Now, I also have these little rain guard things, which allows me to create an air gap without it looking like the window's all the way down, which is great. And I installed these myself after I got the van. There is a video on YouTube about me installing these. If I can find it, then I'll link a card up in this video. If I can, if you poke around in my old videos, you can see where I installed these, and it was really, really easy, honestly. And I've loved them since the day I added them on. But I get a lot of questions about sort of what's going on with like my personal window covers. Well, first of all, no, let's talk about this while we're looking at it. I was going to switch it up for a second, but I'm not going to. So I'm going to go ahead and open my door. How dirty is the house? The house is all right. It's not terrible. You can't really see in there anyway because my camera doesn't have that much depth. Okay, so pull that out. I'm gonna go ahead and let it close. And like I said, daylight, it's still pretty tinted right here. You can see the comparison to the front window. Like I said, this is the window cover out during the day. Hopefully I'll be able to show you a contrast at night. At least that's the plan. And this is basically the front window, which is not tinted. So you can see the difference between the two. And all the fingerprints I'm putting all over my windows, I really am going to give these a deep clean. So here is the window cover. Now from the inside, this is fabric. Originally I did have daylight blocking curtains just hanging. It looked really ugly, and eventually I changed it. So this is just a curtain. And honestly, this is why I'm doing this project. This side is just basically poster board. And as you can see, it's ripping and tearing from being pulled in and out of the window. The wind is pushing it up right now, showing you exactly, and this was stapled on here, but it's becoming loose over time. So first of all, if you look really, really closely now, you can start to see sort of this ripped poster board. This was also glued on here, but again, over time it's come loose. And on the inside here is our friend Mr. Reflectix. So why did I do my window covers this way, and how did I get here? Again, there is already a video talking about how I made sort of my first round of these window covers just out of the Reflectix. And basically what I did was I took a piece of cardboard, and I advise this for anything that's kind of a weird cut if you can do it. I took a piece of cardboard and I basically fitted it to the shape of this window, that window. You couldn't even see that one, so let's turn the camera a little bit. This window and the rear. All right, let's look back at me for a second. And the reason was, when I was in my car, I messed up a lot of Reflectix cutting it wrong. You can cut up cardboard wrong as long as you want. You haven't wasted any of your Reflectix. Whereas if you go straight to the Reflectix, you could cut it wrong, and then like you'll have to buy more or not have enough or whatever. So it's much better to just cut it out of cardboard. And obviously the other side is identical, so I only really needed 3 plus the back, but that was a whole weird different thing. But I basically mostly needed the 3, and then I doubled them, you know, because I had the front window, this window, and the back window. So yeah, that's basically how I did mine. I'm terrible at these kind of videos, guys, but I'm trying to basically explain. The good thing about having the fabric on the inside is at this point, this is completely aesthetic. It just makes it look a little less janky on the inside, unlike when I was just looking at the Reflectix. I did used to flip these and put the fabric on the outside. I accidentally flipped the fabric to the inside, and I realized that made it feel like a little more homey and a little more intentional, because I was looking at gray fabric which blended in with the interior of the van instead of just looking at Reflectix, which makes it look less like that. And then the black on the outside is self-explanatory. It's sort of just, thank you, truck. It basically just increases the look of tint on the outside. Now, for my front windows, so that's the side window. Actually, let me grab the micro window too. I'm gonna grab that one real quick. Stay. So here's the micro window, as I like to call it. And this one's actually in a little bit better shape. I'm gonna honestly pull it out less half the time. I just leave it back there. Kind of a loud vehicle, so we're gonna let that one pass. Hey, I'm outside in the world, dude. There's only so much you can do. This one's in much better shape. But I'm still gonna replace this because I don't like it's too hard and like I don't like it, so we're gonna replace that. But before I get that far, I'm gonna grab two other things for you guys to see. Let's start with this one. This is one of the front windows. And as you can see, it's incomplete. It just has a reflective side and a gray fabric side. So I don't actually use this a lot for street parking. A lot of times when I want more privacy and I want to feel more enclosed, if like I'm in a shared area with people where people don't really care, if you're doing the camper thing, I'll use these just to give myself more privacy in the van. But because they aren't really black on the outside, I don't really use them for like, you know, urban parking a lot, because they kind of, yeah, they don't really feed into the whole feeling of like dark tinted windows. And so I'm going to keep the fabric for the interior, and then we're going to turn this side black, but not with poster board, because the poster board, when you're taking it out, and I take these out a lot and I don't use these as much as the side windows, they basically wear out over time. And I have one more. Unfortunately, the bad thing about these is finding a place to stick these where they don't get on my nerves when I take them out the window is kind of a pain in the rear. But I also selectively pull them out and I always figure it out. And they fold up and they're flexible, but that's why this cardboard is tearing up, because the fabric is okay with that and the Reflectix is okay with all the bending up and flexing and sticking in corners, but the poster board doesn't really like it, which is why it's tearing up. And this is what I like to call, let's close this. This is basically, let me see, when I want to have a little bit of privacy, you know, I want to increase the tint effect, but I want to be able to open the window. So bam, stick this in there. You got a little bit more privacy, but you can bring the window down to here. And it really depends on how much you're worried about people seeing in. It gives you some privacy while allowing you a more cracked open window, and you don't have to worry about what the effect of light is doing to the outside of the window. I only have these for this side window and the side window up on the other side. These are kind of the final priority. I'm not sure how far my new thing is gonna go. So the priority is actually 1, 2, 3, and then the 3 on the other side. I might have to go buy some more to get the back window, and then after I do the back window, I'm gonna worry about these little half ones, but these little halfsies are probably the least important ones in the project. I actually don't know how far it's gonna go. So what am I using to replace the poster board side that's tearing up? Well, I'm using this stuff, which is basically, it's a contact covering that I just got from Home Depot, which is behind my van somewhere. So I'm going to be using this to sort of change these out and just make them hopefully look better. This will hopefully be a little more flexible, a little more happy to be stuck to the Reflectix, and won't tear up as easily over time. It sort of has like a vinyl feel to it. That's the right word? I don't know. This is terrible framing in the camera, guys. And so we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna try that little project, and we'll see how it goes. did the first one. It didn't come out as smooth as I like. I ended up with a lot of bubbles, which kind of makes me unhappy, but I love the contact paper. It folds really nice. It feels really great. So I'm gonna be happy using this to do the rest of my window covers. But this one now has the contact paper on it. From far away, it looks pretty dark. Up close, it doesn't really look that great. But like if you're just walking past in the dark, it's just like a dark shadow behind the window. So no window cover. With the window cover. Like I said, these are already tinted, so it's really just adding another layer of darkness behind a tint that's already there, so that when there's light inside, hopefully it's not being noticed as much outside. I'm gonna pull this out. It looks terrible in there, guys. Don't look, just because it's been Project Life. Alright. And so that's it without it. As you can see, there's not much of a difference that you can read in the daylight, but when there's lights on inside at night, you can obviously you can start to see in there. But still, even though the sun's going down, it's still pretty good light out. So really, I would have to do a demo at night to really show the difference, but you can definitely tell the difference in the front. This is way more flexible now. It's way more together. It's not as falling apart. It's not as smooth as I would like, but it's smoother than the poster board was. So yeah, if anybody wants to like take some Reflectix and do like fabric on the inside, just a really cheap solution, fast solution, and contact paper on the outside if you can find black, like I would really advise it. This is the only one that's not done. It still has the paper backing on it, so I'm gonna have to take care of that tomorrow. So a lot of people talk about the importance of window covers for stealth. After almost 2 years and a pretty light approach to window covers, like I said, I don't even always put the front ones in. As you can see, that's the back side, inside gray fabric version of one of my front cab window covers. Now, one of the reasons it's good to have these up is because my fridge is in between the seats. So I would have to open the curtains that you can't see right now that are behind my seat in order to reach into the fridge and reach out. So if there's lights on in the back, obviously that light is going to bleed out a little bit. Now what does help a little bit, even when I don't have my side window covers in, is to have the front windshield covered, because even though there's a gap, there's also another layer that's, you know, basically between me and the rear, the house part where I am. But it's not that deep. I do not have anything that's perfectly fitted to these windows. I just have a pair of these store-bought pop-up windows. And I saw somebody with these today, and they took a third one and tried to fill in the gap, and I've just never found that necessary. And by the gap, I mean, you basically get these two circles. Now, I used to have really ugly ones. I just recently bought new ones because these are really cheap. I used to have ones that were just silver all the way through. They still blocked the light. They still did the job. They worked about as well as anything else. But I found these. These are like Dickies, and they're black. I've seen a lot of the ones with characters, and I don't really like them that much. I also don't like anybody staring at my car that much. So something that's almost plain black, as soon as you put print or characters or something on there, you're calling more attention to yourself. People tend to examine more closely, whereas these, people's eyes just kind of glance past them. You know, as much as that's important. So when I pop these in the window, so now those are in there. I'm going to bring the camera inside a little bit so you can see it, but there are gaps. Like, this is not perfectly fitting my windshield, and it's still fine. Like, it literally makes no difference. That they're not perfectly perfect. In fact, all that effort would probably draw more attention rather than less. And really, this is more about privacy. It's more about privacy than anything. Yes, it's helping a little bit with the stealth situation, but also, like, when I'm camping, I would still put these up if I wanted, like, full privacy within the minivan, because it closes me off from sort of invading eyes. And if somebody wants to, like, get up on your window and be nosy, like, you know, that's a little rude in a campsite situation. But this encloses the space so that it becomes completely private. And they're not, like, super sealed to the windows. So if you want to just crack all the windows around, and I can even hit the button to crack the back ones. If you just want to crack all the windows around just a little bit, you can still have these in the window. Have a little bit of like a crack going on. No, it's not as nice as like a Max Air fan or something like that. And my sunroof is broken, so, you know, poor girl problems. It'll still work. And so this is what I was saying about things don't have to be perfect. As you can see, there is a gap between these two. Also, these are actually effective at what they're supposed to do, which is block sunlight and keep it a little cooler in the van. But as you can see, like, there's a gap there. It's never made any kind of difference. There's also a gap here because it circles right here. So as I said, it's not perfectly fitted. Whoa, don't kill yourself, Dawn. To the window. So these kind of like window covers, there's a pair of sunglasses I got on the job. Like I said, they don't perfectly fit. They're a little short of the windshield, so you can see the curve here. So obviously if there were lights like in the cab, they would come through, but it's not that big a deal. Coming around to the other side, again, like when you're close up, like if you really get close up on this window, you can see the imperfections. But as you move out, if you were just walking past, like, you would notice it. Your eyes would just go past it. Now, if somebody's like, there's a solar panel and, you know, something up there that says Vanlife, let me go look. This looks weird. Like, people might do that, but that's not 90% of people. 90% of people, this is their life. They're going to their car over there. So they're like, la 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 la. Now let's flip to a little nighttime action. So when you open my doors, you can see plenty of bright lights in here. I got my LED lights up. So we're leaving the van now, and then we're gonna close the door with all of the window covers in. Alrighty. So as you can see in the dark, again, unless you really get close up on the van, it just looks entirely dark. The windshield, you can barely see anything. The driver's side window, the rear windows, you got a little bit of light bleed, but you got to really be being nosy to really get up on it. And mostly it's never happened, so I'm not worried about it. The back obviously just looks totally black. And then as you come around to the other side, again, if you really get close up on the window, there is a couple of places where you can see a little bit of light bleed, but honestly, it's never mattered and no one's ever come knocking just because of that.